Welcome to the Good Karma Sportfishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So this is a little bonus podcast here today. A couple things. So I want to talk a little bit about my courses. So the courses that I have available right now are very detailed. Okay, it tells you exactly what I do as far as power drifting and different types of scenarios where I target mutton snappers. So in the spot finding course, I even highlight two specific fishing spots. One is for queen snappers, which is, queen snapper spots are very hard to find. So I give you a spot in that course. Okay. So I give you the actual drift line that I fish. And also too, I give you a deep water mutton snapper spot, which is going to be quite hot here pretty soon. So the guys that have purchased that course, they're lucky because most of those guys have purchased the other stuff that I have, and they're going to catch some big muttons up to 20 pounds. So maybe it's some real big stuff, including African pompanos and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to catch and all that stuff. And that's going to be coming up here pretty soon, probably the March. I would say they're going to, on the spots that they purchased, I'm going to say it's going to be like probably the February full moon, March full moon. And then after that, they'll probably, usually in April. Last year, the mutton snappers moved in shallow, and you got them in like 175 foot into 145 into 100. So here's my tip for you guys, and this kind of ties in with what's happening with YouTube. It's with when it comes to Yellowtail. It seems a lot of people out there are really hating on Yellowtail snapper lately. It's kind of like a trend right now, and I see it on YouTube. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, so I'm just going to let that happen because that means it's going to be more mutton snappers for me. Oh, you say mutton snappers? Okay, so here's the deal. So pretty soon here in the month of April and May, I think April, that current is going to start ripping. Okay, it happens every year, and my little tip for you guys is I'm going to give you a couple little nuggets. Once the sailfish, those guys start catching all those sailfish down by Tennessee Light, where they're catching 40, 50 fish a day, and that's when you guys need to, and if there's a hard edge, current edge, and green water to blue, that's when you guys better be in there mutton snapper fishing. You better know when that happens, and you better be ready to get after it. So here's my tip for you guys is that I know a lot of guys are like, I don't want to catch the yellowtail. Oh, yellowtail. I don't know where the hell this is coming from. And it's YouTube. And it's like, listen, I'm not going to get into it, but I'm just going to let it go because you know what? That means more muttons for me. So why? Because I got to tell you, I'm going to let you guys, this is for you guys that are loyal listeners to the podcast. So you get yourself anchored up, and I've already talked about how much chum you need, especially when you're looking for mutton snappers. And if you're going out there with weak amounts of chum, prepared to leave early and not catch much, because sometimes it takes a while to let them get fired up and get them in there. Okay, so let's say, for example, one day you've had a really great day, and you're like, oh, I'm going to go back there, and I'm going to crush the muttons again. And next day you go back, and they're not so fired up. So they could be sitting back there in your chum. I don't give a shit how long a leader you got or what type of bait you got. You just have to get the fish to eat. So there's yellowtails back there. They're there. So my tip for you guys today is get your yellowtail rod out and start freelining baits back. Okay? Start catching the yellowtail. Then have one guy hold the mutton snapper rod with the live bait or the dead bait, whatever, long leader, and have him hold it, okay? Now, this is really good for light current days, bright and sunny days, days when the fishing's light, when the fishing seems a little off. And the golden rule is you got to get fish to eat and get them excited, okay? That's how it works. So what happens is that when there's mutton snappers there and there's yellowtail back there, then get your ass on the yellowtail rod fire that back, okay? And then have your, like I said, have your guy on that mutton snapper rod, catch that yellowtail, and then have that guy on that rod and have him ready because shit's about to get real on you. Because that's how it works. Sometimes you got to fire up lethargic fish, and the only way to fire them up is when the other fish see other fish eating. It just creates a little frenzy, and then all of a sudden it'll die off. It'll get quiet again, and then you wait a little longer, and then I'll say you wait like 5 minutes, and then I'll say, okay, put them back again for the yellowtail, and then they'll catch the yellowtail, and boom, we'll hook up more muttons on the bottom rods. So just a little that's a little teaser of just some little tricks that I'm going to be teaching in the yellowtail snapper and grouper course that I'll be that I'm working on. So yeah, like I said, and then the course I'm working on right now is vertical jigging, and then I'm kind of doing them side by side so I can put them out close at the same time. But that's all I got for today, guys. Don't look down on that yellowtail snapper because, number one, it's an amazing fish, and number two, it tastes good, and number three, that's your ticket to catching lethargic mutton snappers on days when it's slow. If you're sitting there staring at your rod, nothing's biting, you better grab that yellowtail flatline, and you better start putting it back. That's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to know what's biting, you can download the Good Karma Sportfishing app, and that's available it's a free download through iTunes and Google Play. Just go in there and do a search for Good Karma Sportfishing, and you can download the app. It's got the solar lunar in there now. It's got offshore wind for the Islamorada humps, and I'm still working on adding wind stations all throughout the East Coast and into the Gulf. If you have a wind location that you'd like me to add, I'll see if I can add it. Please email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com or submit a request to the app. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at goodkarmasportfishing_FL_keys. I do my best to let people know what I'm catching and all that other good stuff. And yeah, check out my website from time to time. goodkarmasportfishing.com. Oh, and my tackle store. I did add some cool stuff in there. The recent item I added is the bomber lures. Okay, the bomber trolling plugs. Guys, these things have been around a long time and nobody talks about them, but these are badass plugs. Order the goggle eye color and the hot pink. These were there before Nomads, and honestly, that's where I kind of got my start, was trolling those until I found the Halcos. But I actually ordered a couple pink ones because I love that pink color, and it's hard to find those pinks. Nomads, I don't really like them, so I would rather use the bombers, to be honest with you. And like I said, go to goodkarmafishingtackle.com and order the bomber lures and all the other shit through the site, and it helps support the podcast. And it just shows your support for the podcast. I love seeing the support. The more support that I see, the more nuggets I give. That's just how it works. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.